Okay, today we got some more stories. I'm going to go back to 1993, my first boat, and my first big tournament win. So, we talked previous about in 81, I won my first club tournament in United Bass English of Rockland County. Um, I was in two clubs at the time, United Bass English of Rockland County, which was basically a John Boat Club, fished Harriman State Park mostly, and I was in the Watershed Bassmaster, which was on Westchester, New York, on the other side of the Hudson River, and it was a Bass Boat Club. So in 1993, I bought my first bass boat. I don't know if you can see that picture on the Instagram. I got a couple pictures of it. It was a 1978 Ranger 1750A. It's a tri-hull, pad tri-hull. It was the same boat that they used at the Classic in '78. And they supplied back in the days of the supply boats at the Ranger, identical boats at the Classic. Had a Silver Troll trolling motor. The big advancements in trolling motors since 1983. Silver Troll trolling motor was top of the line motor, 24 volt, made about 30 pounds of thrust, and was totally useless in the weeds until Doug Hannon invented that weedless prop. Trolling motors were pretty much useless in the weeds. Year after I owned this boat, Minn Kota came out with a 50-pound thrust motor, which I immediately put on. I've upgraded to the most powerful trolling motor available pretty much throughout the time I bass fished. So I spent a lot of time fishing on the Hudson River because it was the closest, the Newburgh ramp of the Hudson River was the closest free ramp to my house. And spent a lot of time out there, and the fishing was fantastic. Not in general, the Hudson River didn't get a lot of fishing pressure before they had the first national event there in '84, and that far downriver, nobody even knew bass existed. They thought it was salt water. So all the time I went fun fishing there, I never saw another guy fishing, and it was just crazy. It wasn't uncommon to catch 40 or 50 bass in a day, and a lot of all 3 to 5 pound fish. It was just, you'll never be fishing like that any place again. So in '83, in my two clubs, I won Angler of the Year in both clubs with my new boat. There's a trophy from the United Bass Anglers of Rockland County, 1983. And I probably have one from Watershed around someplace. And I also had a heck of a summer. I won 5 straight club tournaments in both clubs, but still I was fishing a variety of lakes, but they were all within 2 hours of my house. All stuff that I fished normally or because the club went there. So there was I spent a lot of time in the Hudson River, and I saw that there was a New York Federation tournament coming up on the Hudson. I believe it was September. They in their early '80s, the state federation circuits were pretty much the biggest tournaments in all the states in the Northeast. New York Federation usually got a full field, 100 boats, draw tournament, so it'd be 200 anglers, boat on boat draw. So I put in for the tournament. I took my 115 horse motor tri-hull boat, ran 60 miles south of the tournament, ran out of Catskill. Newburgh's about 60 miles closer to the ocean, closer to New York City, and I ran down there. Had to stop for gas with a 20-gallon tank, so I had about 4.5 hours to fish. The first place I pulled up to, I caught I don't know how many fish on a spinner bait, and they were not good fish, 13 to 15 inches maybe, and I was throwing them back, and my partner's like, "What the heck are you doing? Those fish keep." So I'm not reaching that cold water to call those. I'll catch bigger ones. So and I did, and at some point we pulled up on this little point that they were always used at high tide, and My partner was throwing a spinnerbait as well. I see a spinnerbait come by and a big fish nail it, and I call out to him, set the hook, and as just I said it, I got a bite as well. And his weighed 414, mine weighed 5 pounds. I quickly threw that one in the live well, threw back to smallest, picked up my flipping stick with a jig, pitched it right, flipped it right back to where I just caught that 5-pounder and caught a 5.5. So when we made weigh-in, when we got back to the weigh-in, he weighed in before me, and he had lunker at the time, and he tells the weighmaster, "Oh, he got a couple bigger than that one." So I weighed in 18 pounds 8 ounces. Had a 5.5 for lunker. Took first place in lunker in the New York Federation tournament in 1983 on the Hudson River. Still fish the Hudson fairly often, but it's about an hour away now. I used to live real close to it. And, a couple takeaways from that 1983 tournament is I caught those fish on a spinnerbait and a jig, and that's still a good option, especially on these tidal waters. And it makes a big difference when you're fishing where other people aren't fishing. Anytime you can find some group of fish that aren't getting exploited, your results are going to go way up. So thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Bye.